tell us your name and where you work?
Okay, my name's EileenHuereque, and I work at the Child Crisis Center.
And what is your job title, and just in general, what is your job description?
Okay, right now I'm the supervisor education and prevention for the education and prevention department. And my what I do there is I supervise staff, but in addition to that, I also oversee the education and prevention programs at the center.
Okay. And can you provide an example of a recent project or program that you worked on, and tell us what you did, what it was about, and specifically what you did on the project?
Okay. There's a couple of programs that I do oversee. The one that is or has been my main focus is a teen pregnancy prevention program. It's called No Kidding, Straight Talk from Teen Parents. And this program goes out into the community. We recruit teen parents, train them, and then in turn they go out into the middle schools and high schools and talk about the realities of parenting. So that's pretty much one of the programs that I've been mainly focusing on for a few years now.
And in that program, what responsibility areas of a health educator do you tend to practice the most out of the 7?
From that, definitely, golly, I think actually implementing the program, the strategies, making sure that it's working. So the responsibility 3, I think, is the one that I work with most. Now, Ford also comes into play with evaluation too, so that's really important also. But mostly it's getting those partnerships, and actually that main implementation of the program is the one that I think I use most.
Okay, wonderful. What is your educational background, starting from undergrad to graduate school?
Okay, I have a bachelor's of science in health promotion and a master's
In health promotion?
in health promotion. Yes.
Okay. And where is that?
Both of those are from UTEP.
Oh, very good. What are some of the challenges of your job?
I think funding is always a challenge, and actually right now it's a big focus of mine, because we're actually applying for some grants right now. So that's always, I think, something that you always have to worry about, especially if you're in a nonprofit agency, because you work off grants a lot and fundraising and things like that. So that's definitely a challenge. Let's see. Sometimes what can be challenging too is finding partners, depending on the program. Like, for instance, me working with teen pregnancy prevention. Right now, there's sometimes this big debate with abstinence and comprehensive sex education. And so trying to find partners sometimes for programs that a lot of people don't know a lot of information about. So you really have to go out there and educate the community. So that can be a challenge too, to get that buy-in for those programs, because that's one of the challenges that we have too.
And in El Paso, just out of curiosity, is it mainly abstinence-based education, or is there any comprehensive sex ed in the schools?
There are some, but I think the like birth control set lessons and things like that, and condom demonstrations, those are done like after school, so it's not in the school yet.
So all the students don't receive that education?
Exactly, yeah. So that I just had a meeting this morning with some nurses at a school district, and as soon as I brought up birth control, they're like, oh, well, we don't talk about that. So that's the challenge is, I have all this research that says these programs work, and it's now I have to explain to the community and get that buy-in. So that's tough sometimes.
Conversely, what are some rewards of your job?
I think what's really rewarding is when I look at it, when you're writing a grant, getting the grant, it really feels great. But mostly I think it's when it's actually implemented in the program, and then you see the people change, you see that transition in what you're trying to do. I think that's the most rewarding. And for me, working with teen parents, I see them, and that's really rewarding to see them grow and to see all, everything that you've worked for in that program, and it actually having that effect. So that's really rewarding, I think, to me. facing that community.
And are you a health education or certified health education specialist?
Yes.
And how long have you been CHES certified?
Oh gosh, since 2005.
Okay. And what would you recommend for the students out there to pass their CHES exam?
Definitely, if there's a class offered, to take the class.
Like a preparatory class?
Yes. And if there's any, I would also suggest joining any professional group like Eta Sigma Gamma, because I remember they did have study groups. So go to those, study with friends. Definitely review. There's the great website, NCHEC, and just to go on there and look through all of those books too, and talk to the professors. I think that's important also, because I got a lot of good information from them too.
Okay, good. Based on your experience in the community and within your organization, in general, what are the salary ranges for entry-level health educators and more advanced level health educators?
When I got my first job, it's going to be 5 years, it was about 32, and I did some research. It's about 34 for the entry, 32 to 34.
And that's pretty much maybe a degree but no experience.
Yes, with little experience.
experience.
Yeah. And then, but now I was looking and researching, and it's gone up to like about 45. But again, it depends on the organization you're applying for, if it's a nonprofit, if it's state agency. But I think ranging from about 34 going to 65 for the more advanced.
Okay. And aside from taking the CHES exam, what is your advice to future health educators?
Definitely join the professional organizations like SOFI, Eta Sigma Gamma. Those are those really have helped and do help with the networking. And networking too is very important. I always advise my staff and interns that come in to network and get to know your professors, get to know other agencies, and volunteer with different organizations, but also to find what you're really passionate about. I think that's really important too, because in health promotion and public health, it's such a wide variety of, there's the smoking cessation and teen pregnancy, so all these, so actually finding what you're really passionate for and then kind of getting involved in that area and just kind of continuing in there, if you can.
If kind of a broader question, what do you think the future challenges and directions for the health education profession are in terms of training and evaluation? What do you see as trends for the future? What do health educators need in terms of their skill set to go out there and be successful?
I think to kind of, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but to kind of know every part of, and I'm going to kind of focus on the nonprofit area or arena, just kind of know the process, knowing how to get grants and what to do. Grant writing is really important to always have. Knowing how to manage different programs in short times with little money. Many times, sometimes you have a lot of money, and that may be a challenge too, because you have too much money, so you have to.
That's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, that's one of the nice problems, but could be a challenge too. Again, the buy-in, knowing who to talk to, how to talk to the community, to school districts, to state agencies. So kind of, I think that's challenging.
And do you acquire those skills through your education, or are those skills acquired after you graduate when you're in the real world?
I think both, a little of both, because when I was here at UTEP, I got a lot of experience, and again, it's something that you really have to, not to look for, but actually be involved in what you're doing, and not just kind of, do your work and that's it, but especially with community work, it's really being involved, because I learned a lot that helped me when I got out into my and got my job. So it's both. I think both of them help.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you were a student, you were very active in Eta Sigma Gamma, and then as a professional, you've been active with Paso del Norte. Sophie, can you tell us the roles you had in those organizations?
With Eta Sigma Gamma, I was, I think I started as the secretary, but then I was president, and then for Paso del Norte, Sophie, also president, and now I am the national delegate for one more year.
Wonderful. And as your role as the national delegate, what do you do?
What I do is we have monthly meetings, but with the mid-year and the meetings that we have nationally, I go and represent Paso del Norte, Sophie, and just kind of also get information from national to try to bring it down to our level and see what we can do community-wide and kind of keep that connection with national and our community.
And if I'm not mistaken, when you were president of Eta Sigma Gamma, you guys won an award?
We won a national award, yeah. It
So-
was for, let me see if I remember. It was a recognition award.
Recognition award?
Yeah, we
For
did.
our research and stuff?
Research and, yeah, and evaluation,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very
So,
good.
yeah, that was neat.
Well, Eileen, thank you so much for your time, and we
You're welcome.
appreciate